In different parts of the world, there are islands where time seems to have stopped. Some of them used to be home to entire communities. Others were turned into prisons, military bases, or places of forced isolation. Thousands of people once lived on these islands until war, disease, disaster, or the closure of an industry forced everyone to leave. Since then, only the buildings have been left behind. They still stand by the sea, exposed to strong winds, humidity, and the rapid spread of vegetation. There are vacant apartments, closed passageways, rusty factories, and roads that no longer have any traffic. In some places, you can still see furniture, machinery, and various items left behind by their last inhabitants. In this video, we will visit the 10 most mysterious abandoned islands in the world. Remote places that still hold stories of survival, tragedy, and secrets buried within their ruin. But before we start, if you are new to our channel, make sure to subscribe so you will always be updated with videos like this. Number 10. Corregidor, Philippines. At the mouth of Manila Bay, guarding the entrance to the capital of the Philippines, lies Corregidor, a tadpole-shaped island that for many centuries served as a checkpoint for ships coming from the sea. In 1942, its location became extremely important as it served as the last stronghold of American and Filipino soldiers against the advancing Japanese. Thousands of soldiers took shelter in the Malinta Tunnel, a large system of passageways dug right into the rock. It was used as a hospital, headquarters, and storage for ammunition and other war equipment. It was here that General Douglas MacArthur led the defense before he received orders to leave the island. Before he left, he said the words that would later become famous: "I shall return." Corregidor endured intense bombing for several weeks, but it finally fell in May 1942, which caused thousands of soldiers to surrender. Today, its rusty cannons are still there, destroyed barracks, and the entrance to Malinta Tunnel are slowly being covered by thick tropical plants, as if silently witnessing one of the toughest battles of World War II. Number 9. Spinalonga in the Gulf of Elanda, on the northern part of Crete, there is a small but fortified island that was first built by the Venetians as a strategic military fortress. But later on, it became one of the biggest symbols of fear of leprosy in Europe. In 1903, the Greek government sent thousands of people with leprosy from different parts of Greece. They were separated from their families and sentenced to live long-term within the walls of the old Venetian fortress. But Spinalonga is not just a story of forced separation. A young law student named Epaminondas Remondakis, who was diagnosed with the disease, founded an association for the patients. They managed to have electricity, clean streets, and a community with shops, schools, and even a tavern. All of this was built inside a place that, for many, felt like a prison. The colony closed in 1957 after an effective cure for the disease was discovered. The last resident there was an Orthodox priest who stayed for 5 more years to conduct burial ceremonies for the patients who had passed away. In the end, he also left in 1962, and the island was completely abandoned. Number 8. Hart Island, United States. At the far eastern end of the Bronx, where you can see the skyscrapers of New York, there is an island that only a few New Yorkers know about. Since 1869, Hart Island has served as the city's vast cemetery. This is where people who pass away without any family to claim or recognize their remains are buried. More than 1 million people have been buried here. Most of them are poor and cannot afford to pay for a burial. For over a century, prisoners from nearby Rikers Island have been digging the graves. They are also the ones who arrange the pinewood coffins, which usually only have numbers for identification. The island also served as a camp for prisoners during the American Civil War. Eventually, it was also used as a psychiatric hospital and a base for anti-aircraft missiles. For many decades, cameras and journalists were prohibited from entering the island. Because of this, its reputation as a secret and hidden place grew even stronger. In 2021, the city finally opened the island to the public. Because of this, families had the opportunity to visit the graves of their loved ones. People who, for many generations, did not even have their names placed above their graves. Number 7. Ancheta Island, Brazil. Off the coast of Ubatuba, on the northern coast of Sao Paulo, Brazil, there is an island that for many decades was known by a not-so-pleasant name, Ilhados Porcos. In 1902, the Brazilian government took the land from hundreds of fishing families to build a prison colony there. The prison went through various phases. Ordinary criminals were placed here, as well as political prisoners during the dictatorship of Getulio Vargas. Over time, more than 450 men were imprisoned here, considered to be dangerous inmates. In 1952, an incident occurred that left a permanent mark on the island's history. A group of prisoners, led by a man nicknamed Tuesday, organized a massive escape. But it ended in a violent clash between the prisoners and the police on the nearby shores. This rebellion, considered one of the bloodiest incidents in the history of Brazil's prison system, hastened the closure of the prison. It was finally closed in 1955, and today, the island is a protected state park. The ruins of the former prison still stand beside beaches that have been almost untouched by modern life. Number 6. Hashima, Japan. A few kilometers off the coast of Nagasaki, there is a small artificial island surrounded by a concrete wall. This place once had the highest population density in the world. Hashima thrived because of an undersea coal deposit, which was mined by the Mitsubishi Company since the late 19th century. To house the miners, they built interconnected apartment buildings, schools, shops, and even a movie theater. At its peak, more than 5,000 people were crowded onto the small island. From the sea, its shape looked like a warship floating on the ocean, but the end came suddenly, when coal was replaced by oil as the main source of energy in Japan. The mine closed in 1974. Within just a few weeks, the entire population left, leaving behind furniture and personal belongings as if nothing had happened. Today, its buildings are slowly collapsing, and it has become a true concrete ghost town in the middle of the sea. Number 5. Goli, Otok, Croatia, in the Adriatic Sea. Off the coast of Croatia, there is a dry and almost barren island with very few plants. The prisoners themselves called it hellish. Its name, Goli Otok, literally means bare island. In 1948, after the leader of Yugoslavia, Joseph Broz Tito, cut the country's ties with the Soviet Union, the island was turned into a secret prison for people suspected of continuing to support Stalin. But the scariest part was not the guards, but the prison system itself, forcing prisoners to beat and humiliate each other and report their fellow prisoners to prove their loyalty and avoid their own punishment. In the island's quarries and workshops, nearly 16,000 people passed through the prison over the years. For many decades, talking about Goli Otok was forbidden in Yugoslavia. Even on official maps, it seemed the island was deliberately erased. The prison closed in 1988. Today, only the skeletons of former buildings remain, along with a few flocks of sheep and the silence of a place that for many years was deliberately hidden as if it never existed. Number 4. Coiba Island, Panama. Off the Pacific coast of Panama, surrounded by dangerous ocean currents and shark-infested waters, lies Coiba Island, the largest island in Central America. For almost a century, these natural dangers made it the perfect island prison. Since 1919, the government of Panama has been sending its most dangerous prisoners there. They were distributed among about 30 camps scattered throughout the dense jungle. Under the dictatorships of Omar Torrijos and Manuel Noriega, Coiba's history became even darker. It became a destination for political prisoners, and many of them were never seen again. There are stories that some ended up in unmarked graves, while others were said to have fallen victim to the sharks surrounding the island. The prison finally closed in 2004, but there is an irony in all of this. The fear caused by Coiba is the very reason why much of its forest remained almost untouched for many decades. Today, about 80% of its original rainforest still remains, and it has been declared a World Heritage Site. Number 3. Sveti Stefan, Montenegro. On the coast of Montenegro, connected to the mainland by a narrow causeway, is an island that was not abandoned because of war or disease, but because of power and changes in government. Sveti Stefan is a small fishing village dating back to the 15th century, made up of stone houses within a medieval fortress. In the 1950s, the Yugoslav government under Joseph Broz Tito decided that the place would be more valuable as a business than as a home. The government took all the houses and evicted the last residents to turn the entire island into a luxury resort. From the 1960s to the 1980s, famous personalities like Marilyn Monroe walked through its narrow streets. Sophia Loren and Elizabeth Taylor, who were drawn to the exclusive place that had become a luxury hotel. After the breakup of Yugoslavia, Sveti Stefan's business gradually declined. Aman Resorts reopened the hotel in 2010, but due to a legal dispute with the government of Montenegro, it has remained closed, especially after the pandemic. For now, its old stone houses remain empty, as if frozen between two different lives. One is the life of the former community that is now gone, and the other is that of the hotel, which no one can visit either. Number 2. Great Gritviken, South Georgia Islands, in the middle of the South Atlantic, closer to Antarctica than most major cities in the world, lies South Georgia, a remote archipelago that is constantly battered by strong winds. In the early 20th century, the Norwegians and the British established one of the largest whaling industries in the world here. Its main settlement, Great Gritviken, became the center for processing thousands of whales each year. Oil was extracted from them, which was then used to light lamps in Europe. The station operated from 1904 to 1965, but as the whale population continued to decrease, the industry gradually became less profitable. The workers left and abandoned the rusty boilers, ships left on the shore, and fuel storage tanks. To this day, they still stand slowly being consumed by rust and snow. Great Gritviken also has a special connection to the history of polar exploration. A famous explorer who was part of expeditions to the cold regions of the world was also buried here. Ernest Shackleton, the famous explorer who died in 1922 while preparing for another expedition to Antarctica, was also buried here. Today, seals, penguins, and elephant seals freely roam around the abandoned machines and buildings. It is a unique yet very beautiful site, a place where history, nature, and the ruins of a former industry come together. Number 1. Fort Alexander I, Russia. In the Gulf of Finland, across from the city of Kronstadt, Russia, stands a unique fort built on top of thousands of wooden posts driven into the seabed. Fort Alexander I was built from 1838 to 1845 to protect St. Petersburg. But there is something strange about it. It never fired a single cannon in real battle. When it finally lost its purpose as a military defense, it was put to a darker use. In 1897, it was turned into a secret laboratory where Russian scientists studied plague, cholera, and other deadly diseases. They used horses in their experiments to develop vaccines. This is where it got its frightening nickname, Plague Fort. The laboratory closed after the Russian Revolution, and the building was then used for storage of military equipment. It was completely abandoned in the 1980s. 10 islands, 10 different stories, but they all have one thing in common. On each island, there was once life, daily routines, work, and dreams, until something happened, a war. An epidemic, a dictatorship, or simply the passing of time that suddenly brought everything to a halt. We saw colonies and prisons swallowed by the jungle, concrete cities slowly collapsing under their own weight, fortresses that never fired a cannon in a real battle, and towns that disappeared to make way for expensive developments. Today, some of these places are visited by tourists, biologists, and explorers, but there are also some that almost no one ever reaches. Surprisingly, on most of these islands, the disappearance of people did not mean total destruction. Instead, nature returned. Plants reclaimed the land, animals returned, and some of these places are even more remarkable now than when people used to live there. If you enjoyed our journey into the world of abandoned islands, let us know in the comments, which of the 10 islands surprised or amazed you the most? And if you want to discover more strange and mysterious places in the world, don't forget to subscribe. See you on our next adventure.